I want to talk about something I just got the other day, and that was a study that was done by the Short Term Rental Association of New Mexico. And Carl Vidal, I got a shout out to him. I think he authored this, and man, it's excellent. And what they did is the study is named Economic Impact of Short Term Rentals in New Mexico 2023. What they wanted to do, which was obviously wise, is look at the short term rental market and how obviously it impacts our economy here in New Mexico. And we say short term rentals, we're talking about the VRBO, right? The vacation rental by owner. We're talking the Airbnb, the short term rental. It could also be things like furnish finders, right? Where it's a website where you can list properties that are furnished. Those ones are more what they call midterm rental, where it's maybe month to month, maybe not just day to day like you do on Airbnb. Anyway, they looked at that entire market, and this is what they found, Tracy. They found out that there was direct visitor spending, that's the rental, obviously the accommodations, as well as everything else, tourism, food, everything, right? It was about $746.3 million dollars into New Mexico just in 2023
Wow. Wow, huh?
on that short-term rental. They estimate that it was about 1.01 billion in total economic impact in New Mexico. Again, this is the short-term rental world. Obviously, not obviously, but Santa Fe area was the largest by far, just because obviously Santa Fe is a big tourism draw. Lincoln County was second, which,
Oh,
yeah,
old Pat Garrett, the sheriff,
yeah,
Lincoln
yeah,
County,
yeah.
Billy the Kid Land.
They also estimate there's a little over 14,000 jobs in the short-term rental market. So it's actually has a pretty good impact on the job market. And it's not just the people that own those that are supplementing their income by owning, being an Airbnb host and bringing in income that way. It's also obviously all the maintenance people and cleaning people and all that stuff that you need. Get this, the short-term rental market brought $82 million into local and state tax revenues. It's a big number.
Do you
I mean, it's
think
not huge, but
No,
in
it's a big
yeah,
number,
yeah.
but do you think that that's additional, or how much of that is additional versus what we would have had people been staying in hotels?
Oh, yeah, you're gonna go down this road. No, that's a fair question, and I don't know the answer to
I
that.
know you
Yeah,
don't, but
yeah.
I'm, like, going, "Okay, well, short-term rentals, did it really increase the number of visitors, or,
That's a fair question, and I think
maybe
it's a
people could stay longer because they were in a house, or
yeah,
maybe
and
more people could come because you don't need 3 hotel rooms if it's a family of, or a grouping or something, I don't know.
yeah, no, I think that's a fair question, and obviously that those type of properties where you more flexibility and what you can do with it opens up a lot more possibilities for people as opposed to just a hotel room,
Right.
right? And so, yeah, it'd be interesting to know, what the trade-off there is. They estimated they had about 2 million visitors in short-term rentals in New Mexico in 2023.
I bet they have a number from 10 years ago of how many visitors they said came to New Mexico versus the 2,000,000.
Sure. Yeah,
That would be a
yeah.
way to know if the short-term rentals have really had that same impact.
Well,
Anyway,
yeah, I think these are all fair questions. The thing is the point is there is a market for that product,
there really
right?
is.
And the thing that I want to get to is that there's about 14 short-term rentals in New Mexico. There are about, I think the number is 780 single-family homes in New Mexico, and there's this big argument like, well, short-term rentals are taking away from people that can buy those homes. And that's a fair debate we can have. We can have that debate. And I think you have to
But
balance the economic impact. What's it taking away from? What are we gaining? And
and what
and
is the owner's rights
yeah, right.
to
Well,
use
there
that property how they
there is that.
want?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
there's too.
speaking
Anyway,
of Tigo,
can I just say, if somebody wants to see this study, I'm gonna put the link if you
where
wanna
are you
read
gonna
through.
put the link?
I will put it in the show notes in YouTube and Facebook and on our
Do you Instagram Tigo?
some days.
Yeah,
Some days. The reason I bring up this story like the short-term rental, because there's been a lot of noise about short-term rentals
right.
and, regulating short-term rentals, and in my opinion, a lot of that is just a red herring, meaning it gives the policymakers and people to blame something other than their policies and procedures for housing in a market, then basically blame somebody else, right? Blame the short-term rental market. Another popular one to blame is the Wall Street investors buying up all the single family homes.
Right.
You know, we
Big money.
big money. We've heard that, and I there's a long backstory, and I know you love backstories, Tracy. Kidding. This company, Parcel Labs, they're nationwide. They've got housing data on everything, every single home, every single county, all the records on everything. And I was able to get them to put a study together, or at least the data on the Albuquerque metro market and how many homes are owned by investors and a breakdown of who owns those homes that are owned by investors. And what they
So
found,
we talked about this at dinner last night. This is actually really interesting to me. All the data that you provide, I thought this was really interesting. So drum roll,
well,
please.
part of it was there's all this noise about, again, corporate America buying all the homes and that's a big problem and we need to fix that. And it's like, no, it's not a problem. It isn't. So here's the data. I mean, it happens, but it's not a big problem, especially in Albuquerque. So what do we have? We have about of all the homes in Albuquerque, and let's say there's about 400,000, 71% of them are single family, I'm sorry, housing units. Of all the housing units, about 71% of them are single family homes. All right. So that includes apartments and so on. Investors of those single family homes, investors own 7.4% of those. Okay. And I can break it down further, but I just want to get this out here. Most of the owners that own like 2 to 9 units, is 6.6% of that 7.4. So most of the homes, we are definitely a mom and pop, as they call it, investor market for residential housing. People that own homes that rent them out. Most of the investors here are smaller operators. There's another small group of about like not even a half percent that own 10 to 99 units, right? And then there's another small group, about a half percent, that own 1,000 or more. Those are the, corporate Wall Street owners, right? Those are the big money people.
And you know what's interesting about that? I know you have something else to say about it, but the news lately in the last 2 or 3 years is corporate Wall Street people buying single family homes.
Right.
We know for a fact that a lot of those half a percent that you just mentioned of homes owned by 1,000 units or more were purchased like 2010, 11, 12, 13
All the way
by one company
into 15.
all
Yes.
the way into 15 homes for rent.
America Homes for Rent.
America Homes for Rent were buying everything that was about 200,000 then. They're sitting very pretty right now, but that wasn't recent that a lot of those homes were bought by investors in our market.
There were some that were recent that were bought by these, again,
Yeah,
big
some,
money.
but it
Well,
wasn't all just brand
there's a
new.
caveat to that, and I think this is important to understand. Home Partners of America, they were in our
Right.
market, and this
Market.
was actually during,
The pandemic.
pre-pandemic and into the pandemic.
Yep.
But Home Partners America, what they did is, yes, they were a Wall Street backed entity that they've out of our market right now anyway, by the way. But
Yeah.
what they would do, their strategy is they would help people that didn't have the ability to purchase right away. They would buy the home for them and then lease the home to them, and those people then had the option to just continue to lease the home. Just
They had a few years where they had to convert it to a purchase.
no, they could keep going. They had
Oh.
they had the option of either. They could either just continue to keep it as a rental, or they could purchase it down the road. And so it was a lease to own option, which was a great option for a lot of people, and a lot of people took advantage of it. And you think about the people that maybe took advantage of that in 2019, 20,
They're sitting really good
they're
because
sitting
they
really
had that
good.
future price of what they could convert it
Right.
to a purchase at locked in when they basically had this company buy the house for them to rent.
So I guess what we're saying is, yes, there's a half a percent of homes in the metro Albuquerque area that are owned by Wall Street, air quote, investor type people, but there's a caveat to both of those. And for the most part, and that's really the only two entities that own a lot of the homes here now, or not even a lot, really.
Yeah,
It's not a very big number. It's like,
half a percent.
yeah, 0.5% of about 300 or so, 300,000 homes, let's say. Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. We appreciate you. And please click subscribe. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with real estate in the Albuquerque area and New Mexico, and of course, across the entire country. Have a great one.